Hey, this is Canary Quilts, and last week I did a video where I think I called it What's on My Desk. It's what's on my sewing desk, the projects that I'm working on, the projects that I'm making, and I go through a few of those at a time. So last week I started with I think 4 projects and some clips that I made. This week I'm going to update you on 3 of those projects and show you something else that I'm working on. So if you want to keep watching these types of videos, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and you can watch these and all the other fun stuff we got going on here. I do box openings, and those are a lot of fun, where I open my quilty mail and show you what I get. But anyway, the last video I showed you these clips that I did because I like the alphabet clips. They're just pretty expensive. So I did these clips with my Cricut with some vinyl, and I talked about it, and I had so much interest in this that I'm going to show you at the end of this video how I did it. So I used my Cricut. Some people say they have a silhouette, but you don't have to use that. I use that because that's what I had. I didn't have to go outside of my house and buy anything. Someone told me that they got the clips and went to Walmart and bought some letters and number stickers. Someone else said which I also thought of, was taking the actual alphabets and gluing them onto a clip. So just taking the alphabet and gluing it onto the clip. You could probably just, if you don't want to be fancy about it, you could probably just take a sticker and write on it. So there's lots of different options, but I'm just going to run you through how I did it with my Cricut. And that's at the end of the video, so if you're not interested, you can just stop before you get to that. So I have also expanded into double letters and numbers. I love those, and I showed them how I'm using them in my Wise Guys quilt down here. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's come down here and start with this Halloween quilt along that I'm in. I did a few more blocks, and you can still get into this. I think you can sign up by August 22nd, and I'll have the link down below. And you can sign up for 10 blocks or 20 blocks to swap. You can state whether you want to do international or just domestic shipping. So I signed up just for the 10 right now. And what you do is you send 2 of these to the participants in your group, and then you get 2 from each of the participants back. So I'm going to have a totally unique quilt that was made by somebody else, and I'm really looking forward to it. I used to do mug rug swaps a long time ago, like 10-15 years ago, and that was so much fun. I did it with someone in Australia around the time of the Winter Olympics, and I got one from someone else that, she sent me a little note that saying she was a beginner quilter and she's sorry that it's not as good. And it doesn't matter to me. I still use that mug rug. I love it. So I think it's fun just to swap and get to meet people from other countries or whatever. That's why I'm so excited to do this Halloween swap. So this is being run by During Quiet Time. Last time I called it During Quilt Time, but it's duringquiettime.com. Amy Friend, you buy her book, and then you do the Tell Me a Story block, which is paper piecing, and I've printed out my paper pieces here, and I think I've done 10 of them so far. But I still wanted to show you this before it was too late to sign up, in case you wanted to sign up. But I did a few more blocks, so I've got them squared off, and this is what they look like. And not only am I going to have a totally unique quilt with blocks other people made, but I would love to have a quilt out of this too. I love this fabric, and I hope that the people I send it to love it too. But they have turned out so cute. So I ordered her book through Etsy, and she signed it. I think all the books, if you buy them off Etsy, I think she signs them. If you buy them off Amazon, they aren't signed. There's plenty to do in here. There's some more paper piece blocks. There's some bags, some quilts. So it's not like you're not getting anything in this book. It is a very robust book. So I was very happy to get it. But that's where I'm at on that project. And I think by September, the third week in September is when I have to send them out. So I've got plenty of time to finish the last 10. I had a few people comment on my mesh bags that I use here, and I do have those linked down below too. I use them for everything. I probably have 100 bags. It's a great way to keep everything together, and you can see through it. I've stuck stickers on it, so they work really well. So the next one, last week I was talking about the Aloha Mystery Quilt, and I showed you my clue number 1. And last Wednesday we got clue number 2, and it was called Cliffhanger. It was kind of interesting that what we had to do was take our strips and choose 13 or 16 of the light strips and then put that with fabric 4, and my fabric 4/5 is black. So some people will have contrasting corners, but this is what I got. You've got a short piece, 48 short pieces, and I've got them by, I've got them by the same fabric, and 48 long pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of each here in my pieces. So basically what I had to do was figure out, since all my strips are black, how would I separate them? I don't know that I needed to, but what I ended up doing was I took all the fabrics that for the most part just had black and white in them, and then that was half of the strips, and then the other half of the strips have colors in them. So you can see this is what the other half of the strips look like. So that's kind of how I separated out my dark and lights. So we have got, so far, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of pieces. Okay. This was our first clue, and I showed that last time, and I have yellow and red. 24 of each, I think. And then, like I said, we have 48 of the short and the long. So that's clue number 2. Clue number 3 is coming out this Wednesday, so we'll see what we do with that one. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like in the end. So you can watch this as I go through this. I think we'll be done maybe mid-September and see if it's something you're interested in. I've never done it before. They do 4 a year, and this one's called Aloha because it's taking place in Hawaii. So that's the update on Aloha, and that I either need to find a bigger bag or get a second bag, because this is really pushing this bag right here. Okay, the other one is Wise Guys, and last time I showed you Wise Guys, I just had the owl done. So since then I have bordered it with the colors, and I have the purple and the green and the pink. What I need to do now is, you can see that these corners are kind of cut off, so I need to take some white pieces and then do the corners here, and then these blocks will be done, and then I'm going to just put sashing in between them and get the quilt put together. So I'm getting close on that one. Like I said, I think what I'll do when I'm done with this is give this pattern away, because I won't probably make this again, and then someone else can if you didn't get the Sew Sampler box that this came in. So you can see more of these behind me. These are there's 9 blocks, and these are the other 6 that I've done. So these corners right here are gonna have to be cut off and then sashing put in between them. So I made some progress on Wise Guys, which is awesome. This is fun to work on. I like working on that. I love the colors. So the last thing I want to talk about is 2025 Designer Mystery Block of the Month. This is the 4th one I've been in. I don't know if I'll do another one next year, just maybe so I can put my money towards something else and try something else. That's it. I've loved these. They've been comfort blocks to me. The colors have been beautiful. I would totally recommend this, but they send you, if you're unfamiliar, they send you a block a month, and you can buy the kit, the finishing kit, which I did, and this is what it looks like. It's really big. It's a really big box, and I have my first 3 blocks patterns in here. And then this is the finishing kit pattern. So you can see that's what the quilt's gonna look like when it's done. You get a book of 4-inch square and a square quilt foundation paper pieces by It's So Emma, because you can see these dark blue. Those are gonna be all of these in here. And you get the fabric, which I haven't even opened this yet, which I could now. These are going to be all the fabric you need for finishing it. So I bought the backing too, which I've done for 3 years. No, I've done it all 4 years. And you do, usually, yeah, and you get a tag for the back of your quilt also. So that's the backing. And then these are the fabrics. It's really nicely folded and presented in here of all the fabrics. The finishing kit was done by the finishing design was done by Jocelyn Young, and she's done some of the designer blocks before too, but I don't know how much fabric of each of these I have in here, but there is usually plenty of fabric, and I have plenty of fabric left over usually. So it looks to me like every block in here, 2 blocks have the same fabric around them. So like that block and that block have the exact same fabric around them. So you have 6 different fabrics for that. The green, so this gray is the in the 4-inch square and a square. The green is like petals around a couple of these. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are around the blocks. I think this is the binding. This is some background. And then this is the border, which looks exactly like the backing. So I usually do get this cut fairly quickly, but I just haven't done it yet. I just finished my first 3 blocks. I kind of got a little behind on this one. So the first 3 blocks, let's see, block 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's block 1. And there's my block, and it fits in here perfectly, which I at some point will be putting that in there. And these are beginner intermediate type blocks. This one looks complicated, but it's not. It's half square triangles and flying geese, so it's really not hard at all. And I call them my comfort blocks because, like I said, they aren't that difficult and the colors are very comforting, so it's really fun to put together. So here's my block 1, which I got done, and that was by Corey Yoder. Block number 2 is this one, which is by Joanna Figueroa, and it's called Stars Align. And block number 3 is by Robin Pickens, and it's called Ray of Sunshine. So again, they look complicated, but they really are not hard to put together. The patterns are very well written too. So, and the patterns use alphabetes or number letters, so you would use your alphabetes to keep track of everything. So what I've been doing, which I haven't done in the past, is taking the extra fabric you get with all 3 months, and I'm just making extra blocks. And I'm using this Celebrate with Quilts book by Lisa Alexander and Susan Aki. We used it for Peace and Quilt, but I'm just going through this and picking out some blocks. Now this block wasn't in there, it's an easy block and I just did it. And just using the extra fabric to make extra blocks. And I'm just gonna make a scrappy quilt, if that's what you want to call it, of different blocks. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I will figure it out in the end. So I have gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 6.5 inch blocks and 2 9.5 inch blocks, and I still have this much fabric left. I just got done making these. I probably could make more blocks, but I just kind of quit there. I wish I would have done that with the first 3 years. 1 year I gave the remainder of my fabric back over to my mom because she was doing the Atomic Starburst quilt out of those fabrics, and I just gave her the rest of mine so it would help her get through that quilt and she wouldn't have to buy extra fabrics. And then I still have the extra fabrics from 3 of them up there, just up on my shelf. I got to figure out what to do with. Maybe I can make blocks out of those and throw them all together and just be like, hey, here's a scrappy designer mystery block of the month quilt. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. That's how far I've gotten, and you saw that I just opened my fabric kit today, and the fabrics are gorgeous. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much fabric's left out of here also, and I will absolutely keep you updated once I get everything cut out of my finishing kit for this quilt. I'll show you how much fabric's left. I will also show you as I build out my blocks so you can see it as we go along. But I used to do these every month, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. They're pretty simple to do, and I don't think there's much to show unless I show doing something different. You know, if there's a lot of flying geese or something, I may paper piece, or if there's a lot of half square triangles with the same fabric, I may paper piece, but they're not that big a block, so it's usually not that big a deal. So there you go. I will have, I don't think you can get this anymore, but you can look at the past ones, so I'll have a link to that down below. But if you're new to what Designer Mystery Block of the Month is, it's a Fat Quarter Shop exclusive quilt kit and block of the month, so you can watch me do this over the course of the next year. And I will have a link to this down below. I did this quilt that's on the front. I still have to quilt it. I do have a video series on that, and then it's just full of different blocks. And I'm just going and each block has a 3, a 6, a 9, and a 12-inch version. So I can just go through this, pick a block, and choose what size I want, depending on how much material I have. And then there's like 12 different quilts in here. So this, you can see I've used this book quite a lot. I've kind of worn it down. But I will have a link to this down below also if you want to check it out. All right. There you go. I don't want that in there. There you go. That's what I've got on my table right now that I'm working on to show you. And I'm gonna set up to do the clips right now. And what I mean by clips are these. Show you how I did them, but I also gave you different versions, different ways to do them if you don't have a Cricut, or if you don't want to put that much time in, because you do have to weed the vinyl and put it on and all that, which isn't bad, but it's what I had, and I didn't want to go out and buy something, so I only bought the clips and I used what I had. So I'm going to show you that next and how I did it. But like I said, you could glue the alphabet onto it, you could just put white sticker paper on and write on it, or you can find sticker numbers like someone did. They said they went to Walmart and found them. So lots of options, and I think they work great. Anyway, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, check out the links below. It does really help the channel out. Links to everything I have down here that I've showed you on my desk, and take a look at the clips. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. It was kind of hard to find them. These actually have a sticker on the back of them. that I need to remove. I found that it's really not too hard to remove it, and I don't have fingernails, so it's probably a little harder than me, but take the paper off. I just kind of get underneath the glue and give myself something to pull on. And if I pull slow enough, it will pop off. So, got the glue off, and what I want to do is I want to do that for all of these. I've only so far done it for my A through Z's. In my Cricut demonstration, I'm going to show you A through Z, but when I start putting my own on, I'm going to be doing the double letters and as many numbers as I can get. Because that's what these alphabetties have. They have some double letters and some numbers. So that's what I have over here waiting to be cut out. But first I want to get the backs off of some of these so that I can show you how I get these off my vinyl and put them on. All right, I'm in Cricut Design Space. I just kind of wanted to show you how I went through the process of making the letters for my little clips that I show you I was going to do. The first thing I did was open some text and use all caps and typed in all the letters. Came over here to font, which is up here, and I subscribe to Cricut Access, so I have access to a lot of fonts. But what we can do is we can go into this font and we can go into the filters and filter out to free fonts if you aren't part of Cricut Access. So what I kind of did was I looked at the fonts over here, and I kind of looked at the eye mostly to see the eye that I liked, like Della Gothic 1. The eye looks like an eye. It's big and chunky. The M and the W, I don't know about that. They're both kind of slanted. The Z and the N are too close, so that wouldn't work for me personally. The I, the M, the W, the Z, and the N are different. So that could work. What you could do is play around. You can just copy, and I'm going to hit Control C and Control V, and I get a copy. So then I can go to this one and see if I find something else I like that's too skinny. So that's what I did. I just kind of tested out some fonts that I liked and kind of compared them to see which one I think I would like. So for this one, I think I'm going to go with the one over here to the far right. So let's just turn these off. And so the next thing I want to do now is put one letter in. And how big is our letter? It is 0.75 by 0.75, which is perfect for the clip. It'll fit on there. I gave myself 1 inch, so you could make it a little bit bigger, but I think 1/4 or 3/4 of an inch will work fine. And then you just keep going in and doing each one. So hit text, next letter. There we go. These do not have to be formatted in any special way, because when you send it over to your Cricut, it will come out the way you want it. So I am going to move myself and turn off the one that we have up at the top. My maker is on, so I'm going to hit make. So they're pretty close together, and then what I did was I just kind of pulled them over into their own square like this, and that gives them enough space. They don't come out in order, which is fine. I don't need them in order. And then you can see that they fit into the 1 inch space. And the W is a little bit bigger, but it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to pull this back over here. And since these are vinyl, we do not need to mirror these. So we're ready to go to the next stage. I choose premium vinyl. I always hit more, and I'm ready to go and print these out. So that's how I did it in Cricut, and I just auditioned a bunch of fonts till I found the one that I liked that I felt would be readable. All right, so as I was pulling all of these off, the sticky off the back of these, it took about a little over 5 minutes. I was thinking if you don't have a Cricut or something, you could probably take Alphabetties and just glue them on. I don't know what kind of glue you would use, but you could give it a shot. Try that. But I've got my vinyl here ready to go. I printed everything out, and I'm going to cut them out. All right, the next thing we need to do is get some transfer paper on top of this. And that's what picks it up off of this, and then we can put it onto our clip. All right, so now that I've gotten this done, I can start cutting these out and putting them. That one looks like it's just gonna fit. So we will center these. There we go. And you can take this, rub it on, and then pull that off. You got some letters. That's how I did it. I used a different color vinyl this time. So there you go. Let me know what you think.